Hello and welcome to this interview. I'm Claire Dunphy-Hamani, founder of Pilates Avatar, and joining me today is Cara Hazelton of Precision Pilates in Fredericton,
That's right.
Fredericton, Canada. And I invited Cara to join in today for an interview because I think she's got a great story that might inspire you. And Cara is also a Pilates Avatar authorized studio, in addition to being an ambassador. So welcome, Cara.
Hello.
And why don't we just get started right at the very beginning? I mean, I've known you.
Sure.
I've known you for a while, just through the course of educations. But for the listeners, tell them about your story and a little bit of the backstory of what got you into Pilates to begin with.
Well, I had been hearing stories on whether it was on Hollywood TV shows or magazines that Pilates was the best way to get your body back in shape after having a baby. So I think it was my daughter that kind of started my journey, because after her, of course, as a young mom in my 20s, I seriously wanted my body back. So I tried Pilates at a local studio, and it did help. And I changed careers once I had my kids because I was traveling a lot for work in a corporate job, and I wanted something that would keep me close to home. And so that's kind of where it began.
So take us along your journey of, okay, so here you are, you're reading about Pilates, you're getting excited about it, but you live somewhere where there's not that much available.
Right.
So talk a little bit about like how you made decisions to choose your educations and then...
Right. So I'm in Canada, so everything here is very contemporary. There's a lot of Stott. And when I was looking at education options, it was either Toronto or Boston. And Toronto, I would have to fly to. It's about a 17-hour car drive, so that's a little bit far. But Boston is only an 8-hour drive for me, which probably sounds like a lot to people who live in cities where everything's really close, but 8 hours isn't a big deal when you live in rural Canada. So that made the most sense to me with the peak program that I started in. And I could do it in a modular way, which was affordable for me and complemented my life of being a mom and busy weekends and that sort of thing. So I was able to travel back and forth throughout that program over a number of years.
All right. So let's see. What year was that you finished?
Whoa. Let me see. I think I graduated my comprehensive in 2010, but I had started in 2006 or 2006 or 2007. It was right after my daughter. Yeah. So because in the middle, I had my son. So my training took a little bit of a backseat for 9 months plus some.
That's right. I do remember that. Okay. So,
Yeah.
All right. So that's how you got your initial exposure to education.
Right.
And then what?
Well, isn't that the question of the day? I knew that there was way more to be had. And as you know, I finished my comprehensive with you, and you're such an amazing teacher and inspired us to really continue to learn, because it was very clear that getting a comprehensive seriously was a learner's permit, a permit to be safe and not hurt people, and have a beginning of the method and a beginning of a way to help people and help ourselves. So after a couple of years of teaching and having a small studio out of my home, and then also teaching at a variety of health clubs and like local community centers here in town, I opened a studio, and I ordered equipment from Edgar Torado to start. And then I was looking for further learning. So I saw online the information about the classical conference in Chicago, which was Dana Santi's conference. And that was in 2012, I think. I went to my first real conference and got this taste of Brooke Seiler and Kathy Ross Nash and Dana Santi, and Mari was in her heyday then. It was fantastic. And Jay was there, and oh my God, it was awesome. And it just lit this fire in me to learn more. And so since then, I think I've been to probably a dozen big conferences, and I've been really fortunate to train with some fantastic teachers, Dorte Vanderwall and Anthony Rabara, some really fantastic, humble teachers that we don't hear a lot about because they don't travel the big circuits. So it's been really great.
Awesome. So, okay, so we're fast forwarding now, and you have your own studio, and you're starting to build your teacher base, and tell us a little bit about your studio, how, like, your size of your studio, the kind of programs that you offer, what got you interested in Pilates Avatar as an offering, and how it's going.
Yeah, so my studio is pretty big, actually, for the size of the town I'm in. I've got 3 reformers, 2 Cadillacs, 5 wall units, and then I've got 3 Wanda chairs and 2 electric chairs. I've got everything, and I've got multiples of everything, lots of barrels and all the good stuff. So it's a pretty big studio. We offer between 25 and 30 group classes per week that are a variety of, your mat classes and then wall unit apparatus classes. So we'll use the wall units and the barrels.
So how big a class, sorry to interrupt you, but how big of a group do you handle for like a tower class, for example?
I do a maximum of 7 for a tower class because I've got the 2 Cadillacs plus the 5 wall units. Most of them have 6. Sometimes in the evening we'll put 7 in because there's not private lessons maybe happening, but we always try to leave 1 Cadillac available for private lessons that are happening at the same time in the studio. And my mat classes max out at 9, so they're still really small. And then we do privates, duets, and trios as well on the with the rest of the equipment. So there are days and times that around the noon hour when it's really busy that we'll have a tower class happening and 3 privates happening at the same time, and the front desk is busy, and it's a hubbub of noise and chatter, and it's really fun. It's really great. People come in who don't know about Pilates, and they're expecting this serene, very quiet place, and it's like noisy and equipment's banging, and well, it's not banging. We don't let them do that, but you know what I mean. It's busy.
It has lights. Yeah. It has energy. Yeah,
it does. But then there's times that it's not busy, and this is where the Avatar came for me. Was the hours between kind of 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. when the noon hour rush is done and the evening hasn't picked up. And we're doing a few private lessons. There's no group classes, but there's equipment sitting there empty. And that to me is like money down the drain. So I wanted to optimize the use of the studio. So that's when I started, offering the Pilates Avatar to my clients to be able to come in and work out on a time that worked for them. Got a lot of moms who are stay-at-home moms or business people who have very flexible schedules, whether they're physicians or lawyers or whatever. So they're able to come in at different times. So that enabled me to use the studio equipment when there might be private lessons happening, but it wasn't really busy
time. That's good.
Yeah.
Now, because I know you and your philosophy of really trying to get people doing Pilates more.
Right.
A bottom line at the end of the day, how do people afford to do private sessions or whatever 4 times a week like Joe wanted them? So, can you just tell us, the listeners, how you structure your payment and how do people sign up for Pilates Avatar?
So I have the pricing in Canada, of course, and depending on the city, is going to be different in every studio. But my mat classes, of course, are my base price point. So they're the lowest price point. And I interchange Pilates Avatar with the price of a mat class. So people can come in and they can buy a mat class package where they're able to come to group classes, and they can also use that for their avatar. So they can use the reformer for half an hour or 40 minutes on their own for the same price as a mat class. So it works really well. They're getting to use the equipment and they're getting it for a great price. And it was important to me to structure it in a way that I wasn't adding extra packages and accounting and bookwork for myself. So to have it come straight out of a mat package made the most sense to me. So that's how I do that.
So how are your clients like taking on this new idea?
At first, it's like, I don't think I could use the reformer by myself. What if I drop something? Or I'm like, so you drop it. Press pause on Claire and then pick it up and get going again. They're great. We don't allow clients to do private Pilates Avatar until they've had a minimum number of private lessons. And that varies.
Yeah.
Some people are ready to use the equipment on their own after 10 private lessons. And some people it takes 20, it just depends on the person, but we make sure that they're safe to do it on their own before we let them kind of have the reins. And we also require that they take a minimum of 2 private lessons per month while they're doing the avatar to make sure that we're checking in with them, that we're progressing them, that everything's okay, and it gives them a chance to ask any questions they have about what they're working on their own.
And fine tune their technique. I mean, fine, yeah, because that's huge. I mean, but that's really great. So, what was I just going to ask you? I was going to ask you a goodie.
Really good question.
No, yeah. Okay, so this summer you approached me.
Yes.
About a mat course that you were getting ready to teach.
Right.
And, I found that fascinating because I think that Pilates Avatar is a great tool for teachers. So talk a little bit about how that went and what we actually did, how Pilates Avatar.
Right. So, I'm not a fan necessarily of having a mat-only certified teacher because I feel that lacks a lot. So but I have a lot of young students that are ballet dancers and athletes and some moms that are really great, that are maybe sport coaches with their kids' teams and that sort of thing, that are really interested and want to learn more. So I put together I'm calling it a comprehensive mat certification that has the mat, the magic circle, the arm weights, the wall. So it gives them all the tools that they need to teach a really great private session or group class. But I still have the requirement that they've done 20 private lessons in the studio and that they are, competent in their bodies and the method. And what I've done is it has a 150-hour apprenticeship, which is pretty significant for a mat course. I wanted them to have that. And as part of that, their personal practice, I wanted to include for them the Pilates Avatar. So when I talked to you, we chose, I think it was 4 or 5 of the avatars. I think we did the basic mat and the intermediate mat, and then the wall and the arm weights and the magic circle, so that they would be able to listen to this as their personal practice, as well as their own personal practice where they're just with themselves. But what I felt is that it gave them somebody who's a great teacher, words in their head. It helped them with the flow. It helps them to recall cues and be able to maintain a structure, because I can't be there with them every minute. It's a very personal journey, these apprenticeships, and not everyone, it's not a one size fits all, and cookie cutters really don't work because everybody's lives are different. And I think that some programs are very rigid in how the hours have to be completed, but I wanted to give my students options. So, they would be able to use the avatar at home and count that as their personal practice. Yeah, for sure. Because the bottom line is I know if they've done their homework. I can see it in their bodies. You can see it. So I know if they've done it. And so now those teachers, a few of them have downloaded some of the reformer avatars, and so they're using that in the studio as well. And it's really progressing their journey. It's been great. Their bodies have changed really quickly, and I can hear it's great because, as you know, Carol Ilsley works for me in the studio, and she trained with you as well. So we hear you, and you're in the studio with us all the time. And then with these, 4 of my other teachers didn't train with you, so we hear ourselves. But now with these new apprentices who have been doing the avatar, I'm hearing you in the studio again, and it's really great because I feel like it keeps us quite close to the source, because what you've brought to us is what you learned from Ramana, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it allows us to really keep the method alive in a way that's affordable and accessible, for teachers and apprentices and for clients.
Yeah, and that was the whole point. So
Right.
that's awesome. Okay, so can I hear a success story? Just make my day.
Make your day. Well, there's so many of them. We had a woman come in this summer who had never done Pilates and honestly hadn't done a lot of exercise because of a variety of pain issues. Middle-aged and works in a school. So she's busy, she's active, but was suffering from pain. And so she started a program that we do we call it the Life Changer, but it's your 30 private lessons in 10 weeks, or your money back. And
I love that. The life changer.
the Life Changer, it's Joe's 10, 20, 30, right? Well, we do 30 but we make it happen in 10 weeks. And so she did that in the summer because where she works in the school system, she has summers off. And she really, this was a huge investment for her financially to do these 30 private lessons. And she, near the end, was a very timid woman, not really confident, honestly. And, I'm never going to learn this, and I can't, I'll never be able to remember these, and, and I'm not getting any stronger, and all of these things. By the time we were at 20 lessons, this woman is like, we're teaching her short spine and pull straps, and she's setting up the equipment on her own. And I'm like, yeah, in the fall when you come back, we're going to get you doing the avatar. Well, what's the avatar? So I explained everything. Oh, no, I could never do that. And that's scary. And this equipment. And anyways, she's now coming in 3 times a week and she's using her avatar. And she says to me the other day, she takes her headphones out and she's all sweaty. And she goes, I can't believe I was scared of that. And
That's
she's
awesome.
doing really well, and her body's changing, and she doesn't have pain, and there's this new confidence about her, which that's what it's all about, right?
Right.
I could care less if she wears a size 2 pants or, who cares? She's glowing. She really is. It's really
She's
good.
On fire. That's what we love.
Yeah.
The Pilates, the Pilates electricity.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what do you have? Anything new coming up for you?
Right at the moment, I'm just trying to get through the fall with kids, and as exciting and glamorous as it is to be a studio owner, there's the regular life at home. So it's kind of status quo at the moment. We're changing the schedule a little bit, and I am getting a few more clients every week working with the Pilates avatar, so that's fun. We're running a series of workshops, 1 per month over the next few months at the studio on different things, scoliosis, and workshop for runners, this kind of thing, to work with hopefully bring in some new clientele. And we're going to use Pilates avatar as a part of that because with runners, look, I run. Runners are notoriously cheap. They buy sneakers and they're like, right? That's just how it is. They're athletes, but they are cheap. So they really don't want to afford Pilates, even though they really, really need it. So the workshop is going to be, I recently had an article published in the Running Room magazine on the relationship between the spine and the pelvis, and how important that is to be a runner, to prevent injuries and to have better performance. So what I'm going to recommend for everybody, of course, is to come to the studio, but I'm going to give them the Pilates avatar information. And I have those little prescription pads that you sent along to us. And I'm going to check off a couple of the ones that would be really great for them. So, of course, the magic circle, the basic mat, to help. And hopefully that they'll be using the avatar at home because it's something they can do, the wall and that kind of stuff. Because I really feel like you don't need to have had a private lesson to download the basic mat and the magic circle. You're really, really clear. There's no way to mess that up, right? You're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to,
exactly.
And what I do find is as you do it more, you correct yourself, as we know, right? The more we practice, the better we get at holding those cues that you've given us within our bodies. So I have clients come in and say, oh, that avatar, she keeps telling me to like hold my heels together. I'm doing it. I'm already holding them together. And I'm like, well, it's time to move on to the next level then, because
Exactly.
you're doing all the things she's asking you to do, then it's time for a new one.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm very proud of you and what you're doing in your studio. That's for sure. And, just excited about the future for you. And do you have any words of advice for any studio owner or instructor that might, that might be kind of just about to try Pilates Avatar?
Oh, just do it. Like, yeah, I mean, I think to seek out people like myself or your other ambassadors that are successfully using the program would be a really good idea.
Yep.
That's, I think, the best way to go, to ask questions and because we've certainly changed how we use the avatar now to when we implemented it a couple years ago. So it's evolved a little. And so I think that any teacher who wants to do it should just reach out to any of us and ask for help, and you're always there, so they can ask you as well. But I know you're busy. That's why you have us to do all that work for you. I think they should just do it, because when you give your clients, I think teachers in studios, whether it's yoga or Pilates or whatever, I think people are afraid that if you give your clients autonomy, that they're going to leave. But that is totally not the case. When we empower our clients and give them that autonomy to work on their own and grow and change and have this strength within themselves, they want more. So we're totally not cutting our nose off to spite our face. It's like, it's great in the studio, and the energy that it brings to have people having those successes on their own is awesome, because other clients are like, what are they doing? What are they in a lesson? Why are they on the reformer by themselves? Oh, well, they're using the avatar. Do you want to do that? And we have clients now that come in to do their avatar, and they sometimes just take their headsets off partway through and are finishing the workout on their own, which is great too, because they've used it to learn their order, and now they're working that order. And so the avatar that they listen to is the next level.
Right.
Right?
Right. So, well, thank you for your time today, Miss Cara.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I will be seeing you in cyberspace.
Of course.
But really, I really appreciate your time and your stories and sharing with the world all things Cara.
All things Cara. I don't think the world's ready for that, Claire.
Well, you never know. But I just love your energy. I love your enthusiasm for the work and your dedication and your loyalty to the work. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.